Here we go, everybody. Let's have a close look at XRP then, shall we? Kind of my new favourite coin at the moment. It's been doing some decent pumps, and obviously it's going to need to come down a little bit. We're looking at the weekly here, but before we go into the daily, we're just going to show you something on the weekly, alright? A very small chart when you look at it on the weekly, but it puts things into context. So prior to this, we climbed up quite rapidly, quite dramatically from all the way down, down in the dumps. I remember this quite vividly because this is where pretty much where my life began to change really with XRP, and I'm glad in a way that it's showing some kind of promise at the moment, because it made me fall in love with crypto basically. So let's have a look at what's going on here. So prior to this parabolic top, where it basically was parabolic and it's not really worth measuring it, we're looking at the fall, the collapse of this, and so what we're looking at here is a descending trend over basically a 2-year period, where it's been consolidating. Now this is clearly, when you look at it on a weekly time frame, a consolidation after a parabolic top. We saw this with Bitcoin. We'll go to Bitcoin on the daily chart, we will see a situation just like that, and you'll see this with any coin that goes parabolic. It's extremely familiar to those in crypto to see something like this: big massive runs up over a short period of time and then consolidation down. Now we did have and we have had, and this is similar to the way that Bitcoin's moved, we have had you could call it, it's not a 2-year consolidation, this is a 1-year consolidation where we found our first pump. When we look at Ripple, we've not had that at all. I mean, last year we did have a pump, but it didn't go anywhere near the previous year's consolidation pumps. So I'm not getting my words out properly, but basically this is continued to go down with lower highs and lower, not so much lower lows, but we did end up getting lower lows here. Look at the Bitcoin chart, okay? So what happened here is we came down, found ourselves bouncing around that 6,000 area, bouncing around it, and then finding a slump down, okay? So we slumped down for that very last time in December. And not this December, this is December 2018, to find essentially our bottom. And at that point we trickled up a little bit, we trickled up, and then we popped. And that pop is basically what has led to this giant move here. So that was a 1-year consolidation. This is a 2-year consolidation, and yet we're yet to make a higher high. The higher high realistically would be anywhere above this level, 47 cent. But to be perfectly frank, we'd really want to see something above 52, which was last year's all-time high. That would confirm to me that this actually has been a 2-year consolidation pattern, and because we've not done anything yet, but if we were to get above these two highs, so whether you're measuring by candle body, it'll be 47. If you're measuring it from the top of the wick, we need to get above 52. Then we're on for some big moves with XRP. That's if this continues. And I think it probably will continue, because it looks to me as though if you measure down on this trend, this consolidation trend, which looks like a 2-year version of the way that Bitcoin consolidated over, Bitcoin did a 1-year consolidation. XRP's done a 2-year consolidation. That means that we've basically had such a large time to accumulate XRP, which a number of people, including myself, have now been doing. I only really started accumulating it at below 20 cent, to be honest with you, because at that point it was so cheap that I didn't think it was going to go much lower. So I bought a fair bit of it back down there, and I've been margin trading it bit by bit all the way up. I think this one's going to go pretty crazy, because if something consolidates for a 2-year period, now we do get that in traditional markets, of course, you see that in all kinds of things, especially commodities, things like that. So what generally happens after something that looks similar to this? It launches bigger than you would have expected it. And I think in the last year, XRP became a bit of a laughing stock, really, because it was doing its own thing, which was basically being slow and underperforming, shockingly. But when you look at it in this respect now, so you're looking at it with fresh eyes, under a different lens, a lens of a 2-year consolidation period, which has now been broken, rather than an underperforming crypto that trends with the rest of the market. which is, well, obviously it tried to do that, but it didn't, because now we can see that it's been consolidated for a 2-year period, so it was not going to really trend with the market like it did with like basically every other crypto does. And if you look at it, I mean, XRP isn't like other cryptos. It's different in pretty much every aspect. It's a different use case. It's just different. I'm not a fundamental person. I'm a chart person, and looking at this chart, it looks like we have begun essentially the beginning now of our new cycle. Now XRP looks like it has a different cycle to that of Bitcoin, to that of everything. Yes, it trended with the market on this occasion because it went parabolic, but nothing has been consolidating like this in the crypto market, and this one looks like it's ready to really make some big moves this year. So I'm kind of putting my money on it. Obviously, I've got skin in the game. I've been margin trading this one now, so I do have a fair bit now of XRP. So I do hope it goes up. I wouldn't consider myself to be part of the XRP army, but I just find this chart very interesting when you look at it in this respect. It's different to all the other charts. Its volume is enormous, absolutely enormous, which counts for a lot. It's widely available to buy pretty much anywhere and everywhere. It's tradable on most, if not all, margin CFDs, everything. It's all available for you to throw your money into it, and it's still relatively cheap. So I think now what we're going to see is support and resistances begin to get smashed to the up. So the first area that we're looking to break, it's going to be around 36. 36 is this rejection point over here, and once 36 gets broken, we're looking to make areas of 41, and if 41 gets broken, we're looking for 47, and finally we're looking for 52. Once 52 is taken out and you get a weekly close above 52, or even a daily close above 52, we're pretty much ready to go big time, baby. We could even be seeing an XRP at some point this year of close, or if not surpassing its all-time high. That's a bold claim, and I'm not really saying that off the fact that we've got anything other than this descending trend is broken. That's all I'm going by really at the moment. But this is a change in behaviour that's taken place now, a change in XRP's behaviour over the last 2 years. It's not done this ever. It's been rejected every time. This is a significant week at the moment for XRP, and we're Thursday now, Friday tomorrow. We've got a few more days. If we can candle body close this above this descending trend, then we're good to go. We're definitely good to go. Breaking above these clouds is going to be great. So we've got a whole year really to ride this wave up. I think XRP is going to do well, more than well. I'm actually in many ways, I'm thinking XRP could get as high as $10 in a couple of years, just from the off the back of this. I'm going to leave it with you there, because that's pretty much all I've got to say on it. It's an interesting development that we found here on XRP this week. First time it's happened, and I'm very happy to see it. So let's have a look on the daily. So what do we see on the daily? We're seeing moving averages crossing above each other nicely, a nice spread. We're getting close, but not quite yet, but we're getting close to having our golden cross on XRP. We haven't had a golden cross in quite a long time. I had a golden cross over here. The price action had already taken place, and everything had got a little bit messy at that point. It was a messy period for XRP last year. This time it looks a little bit more constructive, to be honest with you, because this again was a real fat mess when we saw the crypto market pick up. We saw XRP pick up immediately, but not sustainably. It's a real absolute terrible mess of a chart, really. When we saw the entire crypto market picking up, you saw consistent rides up, similar to the way that Bitcoin looked when it decided to pick up. Picked up and then launched up and went down. You look at XRP, it went right up, right down, up, down, choppy. It makes a lot of sense to look at that mess there, which is a mess. That is a mess. When you look at it as far as it was consolidating for a 2-year period. Now that makes sense for it to look like this, because it was only halfway through its 2-year bear trend. Bitcoin has a 1-year bear trend and a 3-year uptrend. XRP has a 2-year downtrend, how long is it going to take for it to finish its bull trend? It's safe to assume that it will trend with parabolic moves with Bitcoin, but will it sustain it further on after that? Are we going to be talking about Bitcoin is in its second year of a 3-year uptrend, and then goes down for a year, whereas we can now see that XRP goes down for 2 years? Does that mean that it's going to go up for 6 years? Who knows? Who knows? It's a cycle of its own, really. It's doing its own thing. All I can say is that it looks to me like the bottom is in out of this 2-year consolidation bear trend. So if a 2-year bear trend's finished, what does that mean now? It probably means it's going up. I don't know for how long, but it's definitely going to be going up. I think all-time highs will be surpassed, maybe even this year. The year after that, who knows? But all I'm saying is it's very bullish, and we've spotted something on it now that looks pretty good. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin just very briefly to see where we are with Bitcoin. We're still stuck within this pitchfork area here, and we didn't make it into the blue upper area of the pitchfork. We've still come back down to stay within the green. That's fine because we're being supported right on the dead centre there at the moment, so that's fine. The pitchfork remains to me like it is still holding true, so we'll stick with this pitchfork until further notice. What we really want to see is making our way above to or at least get rejected excuse me, on the top of these areas here. Breaking out of here is when it goes crazy and does its big bold move, but until we break out of this blue area, it's a trading range that's generally being played within the centre of this pitchfork, which in many ways is good because a pitchfork is going up. So even with the supports are going up too. So resistances are going up, supports are going up. The whole thing is going up. It's just ever so slow. It doesn't mean it can't come down further than this. Of course it can, but it can be bounced back from there. It can be bounced back from there. It was bounced from the centre today. The end of the day is very, very, very likely to break to the up, and when it breaks out of this area, it's going to go crazy. If it breaks down from this area, obviously that's horrendous, but I don't think that's going to happen. We've got our golden cross, we've got the halving event coming, which I think is going to be a little bit of a non-event. Much of that halving event, I'm sure, has been priced in all the way back to last year. But at the end of the day, the halving event is going to happen, so leading up to that will keep the price relatively strong. Unlikely to begin dumping massively at this point now. After the halving event, I would probably expect a bit of a dump on that one. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It was mainly about XRP and something that I think is going to show us a bit more action on XRP in the long term. Short term, yeah, we've come up quite a long way at the moment. XRP likes to come back down as well, so we could be seeing an XRP of around 29 cent, maybe 30 cent. But if we don't, if you don't get to that level, don't worry. I don't think you've missed out on anything. We like to play support and resistance on XRP. We're coming into a resistance, a support zone at the moment anyway, but anywhere between 29 and about 31. And that area should definitely hold at this point now. Considering that we've broken out of this area now, probably more people will be spotting this and recognising it for what it is. I'm not saying I'm the first person, but it's just something that I kind of picked up on just looking at it on a weekly chart. So let's hold on to our XRP, and let's not be too arrogant about it, but it does look like XRP might moon, and that is a very controversial topic to be talking about in the crypto space. It's got a bit of a bad rap as XRP, but it doesn't have emotions. XRP is not a real thing. It doesn't care what you think. It doesn't care if you like it or hate it. It just does its thing. So let's ride on its back and make some money. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. But thanks for watching. Take it easy and have a good one.